Hello, hello. Welcome to Time in the Word Tuesday. If you are joining me live, come and say hi, come and say hello. We meet here every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern and we dive into the Word of God. But today's a little bit different. Today I'm just sharing a few things that I believe will empower you, will help you, support you. I'm 𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐢, and I am a marketing and sales coach for Christian women, helping them to build six-figure plus businesses online and do so in a way that honors God using biblical principles. If you're joining me live, come and say hello. If you're there, give me a wave. Let me know that you are there. Today's a little bit different, guys. So I hope you enjoyed today's live. I'm going to freestyle a little bit. I'd love to engage with you a little bit, but as I was asking God about today, I just felt like to share a bit more about my financial journey online. So if you are relatively new online and you're relatively new, you are working the online space, but you're not getting so much results, or maybe you're just kind of trusting God blindly. You're like, okay, God, what are we doing? This might encourage you. I hope it will encourage you. I just checked my stats and actually I have to correct something because so I've done in my Stripe account all time as of 2020, actually, it's 467,000 US dollars. Actually, it's in pounds, but I converted it to dollars. And I realized actually it's 5 years, not 4 years. It's 5 years. However, I've done over that amount because Stripe is just one area where we get money. There's other invoices that I have. So I would say roughly all together over 5 years, not 4 years, probably up close to more about 480, 490, about that roughly. So and if need be, I can share my Stripe account. Some people want to see the proof of that. Someone said to me, "Oh, Bookie, everyone says they make six figures online," and over 5 years, it's not even that much. It's not a huge amount, but I'm here today testifying to the glory of God. I really need to understand today's live is my testimony. So how many of you want to receive that or not? I am sharing broadly about myself, but I'm going to share lessons that I've learned, and I'm praying that it will help you. Yes, freestyling. Good. Thank you. Jackie, good to see you. Hey, Christina. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate you guys. So I'm going to freestyle. I'm going to just share. I'm going to share my stats, year-on-year stats, and just the lessons that I've learned and kind of what happened in my journey to get to this, right? And so I hope it helps you and blesses you. I feel like I should say a quick prayer. I want to just I believe it's going to bless someone. So Father, I want to thank you so much, Lord, that we can just come and talk about business and money and growth and just like appreciate you for all that you've done for us, even individually. I pray this will help someone just appreciate you for where they are in their own journey. And I just pray, Lord, that it will empower someone, equip somebody, and just give them the encouragement they need to keep moving forward and do what you've called them to do. So I thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay. You guys know I like to pray. Anyway, right? So just to say that, right, I'm going to start with why it's a testimony, because I'm sharing my online journey. So 2019, late 2019, I had a real estate business that was suffering. I had a property business that was suffering. We had done well the years past, but we were like closing it down for the most part of it. It was in a really icky place. We were still managing properties. We still had some, but it was just all over the place. And in 2019, God told me to start a YouTube channel. And I'm like, God, YouTube, like, what do I want to do on there? Like, I've got all this stuff happening. It was a mixed match of emotions. And I just really felt I heard God say he wants me. So at that point, we had built a six-figure business in real estate. But at that point, we had crashed. So my husband and I had crushed the same business, right? And so at that point, it was kind of like a really kind of, don't know what I'm doing kind of period. But at that point, I just want to share there, 2019, before that, 2018, I had started to like dabble online. I started to kind of like find out about drop shipping and print on demand. I did t-shirts, I did jewelry, and I bought this course early 2019 about doing Facebook marketing, ad marketing. And so 2019, let me just share this. 2019, I would be knocking on doors, so business doors. I'd go to like Crystal Palace around me area here. I'd just knock on doors, literally door to door businesses, and pitching my marketing services for Facebook ads. So it's helping bricks and mortar business owners to run their Facebook ads. And so I bought this course online. I said, okay, I'm going to do marketing business. I'm going to do this. And so I'd learned Facebook ads, and I was, okay, I'm going to find some clients locally. And I remember I'd leave my house and I'm like, okay, you can do it. Knocking on doors and going to business to business to business. And finally, I had a business, not even through knocking on doors, but through online, had hired me. And so on 2019, and my actual Stripe account for this business, he paid me $1,200. Well, £1,200, sorry, £1,200. And that was my first kind of like, because I found this client online. So I found tangible amount of money, because beforehand I was selling jewelry for like, God, it's actually pitiful. I was selling jewelry for pennies on the pound, like just trying to find my way in this space, online space. And so I'm here to say, the reason why I'm saying this as a testimony, because like sometimes we can feel lost, and sometimes we can feel like we don't know what we're doing. And we like, what are we doing? Like, we're doing this there, doing this there. And that's how I felt back then, 2018, 2019. And so 2019, I shared with you guys, some of you know this already. I said, Lord, what am I doing? Please help me. Okay. And so all of the knowledge I had gained was useful, but it wasn't really what I wanted to do. And so I heard him say, go on YouTube. And so I obeyed him. So 2019, late 2019, I started to post on Instagram. And before that, I'd never bothered about social media, couldn't care less about social media, wasn't the kind of like, look at me type person. I'm still not. And I wasn't that kind of person. I'm not that kind of person now. And so I didn't really get in the flow of Instagram. I just encouraged. I'm a person that loves the Bible. So I just started posting scriptures and posting encouragement and doing all of that on Instagram late 2019, because I was trying to and I started to put videos out there, bit by bit. Anyway, right? So just to kind of give you a backdrop of where I was and like my journey. And it was 2020 where I like, you know what, I need to just get serious with this. What am I doing? And as I you guys know, I shared the 12 biblical laws that God was helping me to unpack and understand his principles around wealth. And so that was the year where 2020, I started to take everything seriously and just stand in my own, stand in who I am today, should I say. And so God opened the door for me. He got me, he did this. I can't even say it was my marketing skills at all. He landed me this 9K client, like, I think it was like early 2020. And it was like, it wasn't even an individual. It was a business. It was a small business. They wanted somebody to help them with their ads as well. So I was doing ads for other people. Anyway, all of that to say, right? So 2020 really was when I started to make some money online. And so let me just share. I want to share my journey in terms of finances each year, lessons I've learned, and people I've hired, what I've learned from what I've hired. And I want to hopefully paint a picture of growth, right? Because I talk a lot about abundance. You guys see my channel, abundance now. Because quite rightly so, God has put that in my spirit. Like it won't shift. But also when I talk about abundance biblically, it's not an instant thing. Yeah, it is a growth thing. It is a listening to God thing. It is a surrendering your will to God thing. But knowing that when you surrender your will to God, the end journey for you is more than enough. Okay. And so I've talked about it a lot. I use scripture a lot, but I thought, let me just use myself and explain like what that can look like practically speaking. Is that helpful? If you're there, let me say, just say I in the chat if you're there, or yes in the chat if you're there. Let me know. Some of you are still watching. Okay, excellent. Got some of you still watching. All right. So that just paints a picture of 2020 for me. And so 2020, I did. So my Stripe is in pounds, but I'm going to share with you in dollars because it makes sense for most of you here. About 30,000. My first year online, I did first proper year online, I did 30,000. And that year was the year that when I made that first sale of that 9K, I was like, oh, I can go hire somebody now. So I hired a coach, and this coach I hired, that was her first year of doing 7 figures. So she was 7 years into her business, and that was her first 7-figure year. I've been following her for a while, and I was like, you know what? Let me, excellent. Yeah, it's not overnight. Exactly. Thank you, Jackie, right? I followed her for some time, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to just try her program. I did her program, and it was really good. However, I didn't get clients straight away from that program. And that program was the Get Clients Now program. So I got lots of good information. And what she taught me back then has really even helped me from today. So I didn't make money straight away, but actually it was very valuable. And so later on that year, I invested in another coach. And that's when I shared with you guys, there was a coach that was doing like, not really a coaching program, more like an accelerator, like make 30K in 90 days. And so I joined that accelerator program, and I didn't even have the money to invest in it because I didn't have everything up front anyway, because I just, you know, when you have sales, don't always have cash. So anyway, I put 500 deposit down by faith, as led by God. And towards the end of that year, I think that 90 days, I did about 24,000 in sales, sales, not in cash, but in sales. Yeah. And so that kind of really helped me and boosted my confidence. And so in that year, I had hired 2 coaches. And even though the first coach didn't get an instant return, it was the knowledge I got from that coach and I put into the second investment that really began to like fuel my journey, and I began to kind of change. So just so you know, so I did 30,000 in cash collected that year. The next year, 2021, that's when I started getting more confident in what I was doing, and I started to teach more about evergreen organic methods. So some of you know what I teach. I teach launching now, but back then I would teach a lot about organic evergreen posting and getting clients that way, going live stream and all the things, right? And I did that for most of that year, and I did about 55,000 that year. Okay. Now the problem with that though, the 2 coaches I had hired, they both were single and they both didn't have children. I had a child. I'm married. I'm a minister, very involved in church, lots of responsibilities. And so the method they were teaching me and I was using was exhausting me. Like I was like, you know, these ladies were like, they had the time, they had the energy, they had the thing, and I was doing it and then making money from it. But it wasn't like, it just was like, okay, like there must be a better way. Yeah, must be a better way, right? So that was me doing evergreen organic. And if you have any questions about what some of the terms I'm using, let me know. Like I say evergreen organic, I assume people understand it. But if you don't understand it, let me know and I will elaborate. But I was doing that for that year for the most part. And the following year, no, that was the year, actually towards the end of that year, that God spoke to me very clearly about do not overwork to be rich. Proverbs, one of my favorite scriptures that I share a lot on my teachings and trainings, right? And God was just sharing to me there's a better way to do business. Like you don't have to like be visible all the time and posting all the time. And yes, you have to be visible, you know, but there's ways you can do it much better. And so the next year, I invested heavily in myself to learn automations. Yeah, I hired this 8-figure coach to learn about automated webinars. I had this other coach to do to build my product business from that. I had another coach to learn live launches. So I learned a lot that year. And so my income pretty much stayed the same. So it was about 57,000 that year in cash collected. So 2021, 2022, I had a pretty standard, like didn't change much in those 2 years because I was shifting my mentality and I was learning how to build better. So I was learning how to build better. So it was my building year, should I say. Still making money, but like, you know, whatever. So evergreen, but not evergreen organic. Yeah. Evergreen organic. Yeah. Evergreen organic, basically. So evergreen automated. Evergreen normally is just like you have an evergreen webinar. So you go to a webinar and you hear the webinar and you opt in and they'll say, there's a webinar now or tomorrow or the day after, and you sign up. Yeah, and you go to the webinar and it's all like automated. Everything's automated. So that's like normal evergreen, right? Like you have normally it's a webinar kind of funnel and you can just sign up anytime and they'll have email marketing to kind of sign you up, all the things. There's no like live engagement. There might be some calls involved in that behind the scenes in your emails, but for the most part, it's just automated. Evergreen organic is more the case whereby you are, so it's not launch method. It's outside, it's not launch mode. It's not like have a big 5-day challenge or have a big webinar or 3-day challenge. It's more kind of like I'm posting and signing, I'm emailing and I'm signing. So I do my regular weekly lives, and I would pitch for a call, I'd have a conversation, and that would be classed as like kind of evergreen mode. You put posts out there for what people, so people can see what you do. You would post your offers. I had this lady, I watched this lady for a while in her Facebook group, and she literally just signed clients through her Facebook group and literally just posting consistently, posting, adding value, posting, getting people on the DMs. So it was an ongoing kind of posting, signing type arrangement. Yeah, that's how. So it was not kind of like live launching and kind of big hoo-ha, bells and whistles kind of thing, because I thought that was quite exhausting at the time, right? But actually doing the evergreen method and the continuous kind of fresh content all the time in post as well as live video for me was a lot, because I had other things going on. So Jackie, was that clear? Did that make sense? Yeah. So let me know if it makes sense, right? So that's evergreen organic in my understanding of it anyway. And so 2022, yeah, I'm building my building years. I'm building, and I invested a lot in myself. I've invested thousands in myself, but it's all, here's the other thing I want to say. I'll put the lessons learned at the end. But investing in yourself, like, is the best thing you can ever do. Like I know people who've been on the online space for years and haven't made like anywhere near next to what I've done, or people who have made much more than I have done and invested maybe even more. So what I would say is that, like, you don't do this by yourself. Like, it's good to kind of like get help for those who are ahead of you. And that's what I did. I was just like, listen, I don't want to waste time. I need to do this. Right. And so I learned different strategies a lot of my building years. And then 2023, I focused on live launches. And not only that, that's when God had spoken to me about changing the name of my challenge, which was Dream Clients and Abundance Challenge, to Abundance Now. That's also when he told me, and I'm going to share this as well, it's all by faith. Like, he told me, like, you're going to help women to build 6-figure businesses. And here I am, I'm like, okay, just barely getting to 6 figures at the point. But he's like, no, that's what I've called you to do. And so I stood in that by faith. And that was the first year that I helped another person get to 6 figures, 2023. And so there's a lesson in this in terms of hearing God and just doing what he said. Okay. Hearing God and just doing what he said. Right. And so 2023 also was where I just decided that my focus is going to be, I just want to help people get results. I just want to, like, Lord, help me help them get results. Like, I knew doing that will elevate you, will empower you, will equip you, but also will, the focus needs to shift. And so 2023, I did about just over 100,000. So I say this loosely because I haven't got all the figures here, but just over 100,000. And I would say, yeah, just over that, right? But that was the year where I had my first client do 6 figures, and my another client do 6 figures. Well, just towards the early part of this year, number one did 6 figures and growing basically. And so my point being here is that, you know what, do what God has said. And so I focused wholeheartedly on what God has said me to tell me to do. And I focused on live launches, and that's been my method. This year, we are on about 209,000. So we've doubled from last year, and I had slowed down a bit. So the last 2 years is the biggest bulk of the money that I've made online. And the last 2 years is whereby I've had absolute laser focus on one method of signing clients. Yeah. And so that method has been live launching. Before that, I would try different things. I was doing that. I was doing this. I was trying boot camp method. I did this. I did a webinar. I just did everything. I was trying different things. And my income kind of stayed the same, right? Didn't really move because there was lots of things going on, because everything takes energy. But as soon as I decided to focus on one method and on focusing on getting results, that was my pure focus, then the things began to shift. And so, except for the 2 years where I was more or less at 50K for 2 years because I was kind of building, I seen my income double, more or less. Now this year, funny enough, at the beginning of this year, I would have expected more, but partnering with God is the also the theme of today. God interrupted my flow in summer, and normally I would be doing launches every other month, and that's when God spoke to me about the book, and he spoke to me about the event, right, which is December 7th. Get your tickets. If you're in London, come and join us anyway, right? So those two things, see, and I'm gonna go to lessons learned in a second. Those two things stopped my flow of what I thought I was going to do this year. So I had planned to just go all in on my launches and just really make them bigger and better and just really help more people through them and, just grow the business, right? But actually I had to slow down a lot in the summer. I actually slowed down to actually also speed up. And so I'm sharing this because I'm going to go into the lessons now. So going into the lessons, one thing I've learned is you just have to decide. Well, for me personally, I know that God's plan is better than my own plan. As much as I personally, because I've got big goals, I would like, I would love to be on 7 figures by now, right? I have to submit my desires to the Lord. And I could have ignored the voice about a few things he told me to do and just kept on going. But actually, I don't believe that there is fulfillment in that. And also, he knows what we need more than what we do. The women that are attracted to me, most women that are attracted to me are women who want to do well, women who want to thrive, women who want to make lots of money. Like, so if you are that person, just say money in the chat, right? Or in the comments, you're watching the replay. So many women that I serve are go-getters, want to make lots of money, and we love God, right? And there's no shame in doing that, and no shame in that, because God already sees our desires anyway. But it's about understanding where money comes in the place of our walk with God and in God's plan for our lives. And so even though I had this big plan, probably to do maybe over like about 300 or 400 this year, it slowed down. But he has a bigger plan because he knows what's ahead. So my lessons learned over these years I've been in this journey of the online space is quite a few. I just jotted down a few. So I'm just going to summarize everything I've just said, right, is number one, it pays to obey God. Even when it doesn't feel like it, it pays. Because before that, God told me to start YouTube, and I did start YouTube, but then I neglected YouTube for a while. But I was always doing my Time in the Word Tuesdays. He told me to do Time in the Word Tuesdays. And there'll be times where I'd come on, maybe like an hour before. I had no clue what I'm talking about. But just to trust God and move in faith, several times I've done that. God will use what I've said to bless somebody else. And a lot of the times, actually, this Time in the Word Tuesday is not a sales strategy. It's a mission strategy. Okay, this is more about sowing seeds in people's spirits rather than making money. This is what God has told me to do. And many times he'll tell me not to pitch anything. I'll come in here and I'll just share as God has led me to do. But a lot of the time, actually, God will send people because they've seen my time in the Word and they have just appreciated what has come out of me. So my point here is that lessons learned, I've said, you know what? Sometimes the way God will package you and the way God will direct you will not be the norm. Like my teachers would say, every live stream you have to pitch, every live stream you're going to do this. And I would say, yeah, that's helpful to know as a sales individual, but also partnering with God, be sensitive to the Holy Spirit. Like, hear what he has to say about you and your business and move in that way. I teach some things that I may not always do because God has told me to do things a bit differently, but he's told me to teach certain things, right? So it's really important, I would say, as you're building your business with the Holy Spirit, to be in tune with him, hear him and hear him clearly. Don't hear him through your emotions, because we can say, oh, God said, but actually it's your emotions that said. But I've learned that, listen, you've got to really hear God. Like, don't just be emotionally led and think it's God. Unfortunately, in this journey as well, I've met people who say they're Christians, and actually what they've demonstrated to me has been very anti-Christ. That's part of the journey. You're going to meet many people that are just people, and we're just who we are, and that's just it. And unfortunately, I've met people who are just, I can't believe you're a minister of the gospel kind of thing. But I just park it and move on. So my thing here is that why I say that is because we can think we're hearing God and we can think we are in line with him, but just make sure that you are really hearing him. All right, just get confirmation on things. Just double check, get him to confirm things for you, so you're really walking in the right way. That's what I would just say, and have a humble spirit to allow him to minister to you and direct you in the way he wants to direct you. Yeah. So I'd say it pays to obey God, even if it means slowing down, because even though I have slowed down a little bit, I believe the slowing down is necessary for an acceleration. Because I was like, beginning of this year, accelerate. And God has me slowing down. And I'm like, Lord, what are you doing? But God knows, because he's preparing me for the speed, but I have to be in tune with him. So all that to say is it's so important to have your own relationship with God. Okay. So other lessons I've learned is it pays to invest in yourself, like period. Imagine period. Every person I have invested in, even if I didn't get clients directly from what they've done, I've learned what to do and I've learned what not to do. And I've learned why to do certain things. And I've learned so much. My brain is like, kind of thing. So it pays. If you decide that investment will be fruitful, it will be fruitful. I have invested in myself, and there's nothing I've invested in myself that I've regretted. That I've always had a return on my investment. Always. Even if it's just from knowledge I've had, that knowledge I have had, I can confidently speak in somebody else's life because I have knowledge about something, because I've invested and I've been in an atmosphere that I know certain things, because I have been inside I've been inside different programs and stuff, right? So it pays to invest in yourself, okay? Every investment will yield fruit if you let it. I'll say this. Before I started this whole online space, I was in real estate. I invested in myself there as well. And I would go to these property meetings, and I would go, because back then, none of this online stuff, we'd go out networking in person, right? And so we'd go out and networking in person, and people would be like, wow, you've done so well. Tell me how you did it. And I'm thinking to myself, we did the same course together. Like, I just take the course and I just implement it. I'm an action taker. So I would say to you, if you invest in yourself, take action. Everyone that's invested in me, in the training that I deliver, rather, and you've invested in yourself in the training that I've delivered, take action on it. You take action on it, you'll see results, okay? You'll see results. So I'd say every investment would yield fruit. So that's definitely a big one for myself. Yeah. What else will I say to you? It may not always be instant return. It may not always be instant. As I mentioned before, my first investment was not instant, but that investment I made on that first coach has spoken for me for years. Like, I learned so much that has just helped me tons. So just pay attention, turn up. I'll leave it there. Okay. All right. The next one I say, this is just jotting down notes, is be good to people. Lessons I've learned: be good to people. Well, what do I mean by that? Care about others. When I started to build a team, I started to get like my first, VAs actually, before my current VA, I realized I care about the person, not just about what they can be productive for me for. So not just their productivity, but their actual personality. So I ask questions like, what are you studying? What's your family life like? When you hire people, when you have people on your team, care about them as people. I want to say, those that follow me and know me, personally in this online space, my current VA is a godsend from heaven. Okay. Because God has packaged her in a way to be for what I'm doing. So because she's for what I'm doing, like, she's grown her business, her own business, and she still wants to help me and support me. But I also know the reason for that also is because, see, in my own ministry world life, I have sown into other ministries. All right. So I've also, in church, my husband and I are pastors, but we are not lead the ministry, but we support it heavily. But my bishops always say to me, you know what, Bookie, and my husband, they would say, listen, you have sowed into our lives, like God will send people to sow into your life. Yeah. And I always grab that. And so I know part of those prayers were, as a believer now, just as a believer, be good to people. So when you sow, it will come back to you. I can't tell you, really, if you're listening, like, you are a godsend, right? Like, she just knows. She's just someone who is for what I'm doing. Put it that way. And so when you're good to people, they'll be good to you. I've had clients who I would tell them, how to, like, or before I've taught them my strategy about how to hire people, they would have told me their experiences about how they've hired people. It hasn't gone really well. But I was asking them, have you cared about them? Have you found out about what their needs are? Have you understood them and what they're doing in their own life? Don't just hire people and just make them a number. Care about them, because to build your business online, it's not going to be easy doing it on your own. So if you have help, care about those people. Ask about their life, because they will be invested in you. And I would say that has been a big one for me. And, hope that's helping. Is this helping? If it's helping, put it in the chat, helping. I don't know. Put helping in the chat if it's helping. Let me know. Right? I hope it's helping. I'm just sharing, and I believe it's going to help somebody. Right? So be good to people. The next lesson I would say I've learned is that it pays to focus on one thing for a season. Don't dabble in too many things at one time. It pays to focus. Like, if you have hired somebody and they give you a strategy to do, just do it, build it, see it work to the end. It pays to focus on one thing for a season. I've shared this before, that one of my coaches, she would say, no, one platform, one signature offer for 1 year, you'll get to your first, I think, 100,000, right? And I did that. Literally, I did that. I focused on one signature offer, one platform for the most part. I just focused, and I was doing that over and over and over and over again, and it helped. So focus on the one thing for a season, and that's what I believe has helped me to grow. And then, lastly, I'll just say, I think out of everything, the thing that has been the game changer for me is the focus to be concerned about the results that I get for others, and sharpen my skill in doing that. God told me to add another call to our program this year called the Becoming Call. And the Becoming Call, for those of you that join it, know it, is really about us becoming the CEO, because I realized that to help someone else get results, it's not always about strategy. You can have the best strategy on the planet, but if the wineskin you have is old, the new wine cannot work for you. So you have to become a new wineskin. You know what I'm saying, ladies? Wineskin. And then the wine that's poured into you will not burst open. Because if you don't become a new person, you can't change. And so we are new creations, but actually we have to be intentional in being new creations. And I found that actually those that got best results, or those that get best results, are those that are intentional in transforming them as individuals, as well as getting the strategy part. So strategy is important, but it's not as important as becoming the new version of you. And even for myself, I realized that actually I had to become someone different. I had to step into who I was. People that know me, I don't know, if you knew me back in, I don't know, years ago, I'm not the person who would be here speaking, live streams and presenting and all the things. That's just not, my go-to is behind the scenes. But I had to become somebody new to get different results. And so I know that as you do that, it will change the game for you. And as you become someone who is more skilled, learning the skill, implementing the skill, right? So I had to learn much more. I had to implement much more. And all those things, as I have gone on in my journey, has really, really helped me. And so lastly, I'll just say, have a heart that desires God's will in everything. So beyond money that we make, beyond our expectations and our own plan, our own agenda, have a desire for God's will to be at the forefront of your life. And that sometimes means being uncomfortable, sometimes means doing what you don't want to do, sometimes means getting out of your comfort zone. But knowing that as you do that, it will speak for you. Yeah. So I think I think those are the kind of key lessons I've learned in these years. Hi, Janine, how you doing? I see you there. I saw you late, right? Yes, thank you. Oh, bless you, Jackie, right? So these are the main, yeah, we love Rudy. Absolutely. Love it. I'm just kind of like, reading the comments as you're coming along. Yeah. That's the summary of it, ladies. And if you have any questions, let me know. But I think that's my journey online so far. And I always say I feel like I'm just starting. I feel like I have so much more to achieve. But also I would say, and I'll be really, really honest, that myself, the bookie, without God, I wanted to be a millionaire yesterday. Like I wanted, like, Lord, 7, 8, 9 figures, like whatever it takes kind of person. But I've learned to surrender all the desires to God and just like, you know what, God, what do you want to do in this season with me? What's your plan? Because I know it'll be much better than my plan. And all that to say, I love what I do. Absolutely love what I do. And I think the testimony here for me is that if I didn't say yes to God in the beginning and say, okay, I'll do the YouTube channel, Lord, I'll do the YouTube. If I didn't say yes, then I don't know where I would be. And I wouldn't have known that there was a whole world online waiting for me in terms of impact, influence, friendships. It's amazing. I've had a wonderful time. And I think maybe because we're at the end of the year and I'm in that place of just kind of thinking about stuff. So excuse me if I go off on a tangent, on a random talk, but it's been an amazing experience. I've met the most amazing people over these years. I've had like friendships across the river, across the world. Like I'm so like, if I went to the US right now, like I'm sure I could go to many states and have someone to know, like to meet up with somewhere, because I've just had the privilege of meeting some wonderful people across the world. And it's been amazing, and I love it. And so the real, and just to cap it off, if I can just stop talking, is the abundance now that I talk about a lot is more than just the money. Abundance is more than what you need. And God has been faithful to provide for me more than what I actually need over the years. He's been faithful, I'm not a billionaire, millionaire, whatever, but I never lack. I never lack, and it's still growing. But apart from the money side of things and the sales side of things, the actual joy, the fruitfulness, the relationships, the knowing that you're operating in your calling. And here's the thing, we all get to operate in this. And I've said it so many times before, when you operate in your calling, God's will for you is fruitfulness. And so everybody who has decided to partner with God and to just do life God's way, so do business God's way, you are guaranteed a fruitful life. I say guarantee without no hesitation. You are guaranteed a fruitful life because God's word doesn't lie. And so I testify to God because I was in a very dark place so many years ago. Didn't know, like, just a lot, horrific, horrible place. Couldn't pay my bills, couldn't understand what was going on, heavily in debt. Horrid. But the God that I serve, I said, I'm going to just follow him and trust him. As I've done that, he's seen me through. So I've finished now, guys. I'm not going to talk on. I hope it has blessed somebody. It pays to have a heart that desires for God's will to be the forefront of your life, even if it means being uncomfortable. Yes, Jackie, thank you for doing that. Good to see you live. Got you covered. Yeah, thank you. Christina, I know, right? So guys, thank you so much for sharing, for being here on this live. I just wanted to just share my journey, my stats a little bit. If you have any questions, anything you have. Before I go, I must plug the event in London, December the 7th. Okay, listen, 7 is the perfect number. 12 is a governmental number. 7-12. Something powerful is happening in London. If you need to fly over, come and fly over, okay? 7-12-2024 is going to be a day that you will never forget in your entire life. It's going to be a day that God has... See, let me just say here, if God didn't interrupt my flow, I would not be doing this event. I don't organize events. It's not my thing. It's like, oh, no. I'd rather sit in my chair right here and be comfortable behind the scenes. But God said, no, Bookie, go and do this. Go in person now And so I'm obeying the voice of the Lord. And so every time I obey the voice of the Lord, something amazing happens. Okay. So I believe that if you come along to that event on December 7th, it's a strategy day, sales strategy day, but also a time of fellowship, a time of dining, a time of impartation, a time of worship. It's just going to be amazing. And lots of things are going to happen there. And so worship precedes wealth is what God has given to me. And it's a call for us as female entrepreneurs to rise up in who we are, to submit ourselves to the King, to watch him take our lives and move it into a life of abundance and fulfillment his way. And if you're in the US of A, watch out for me next year. God has called me there to do the same thing there or something similar. And so if you're in the UK, you're in Europe, you want to come along, book your tickets. I think the link should be in the description somewhere, or just comment where's the link. If you haven't got it, I'm sure it'll be there somewhere. I will put it there. And join us on the 7th of December. It's going to be amazing. All right, guys, I'm off now. Take care. Thank you so much for joining me. God bless you. See you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you, ladies. Janine, Christina, Jackie, everyone else that's here. God bless you. Thank you for joining me. Love you lots. Take care.